Good day, dear doctor and my dear fellow friends. Today, my group is going to present about Mr. DIY. My name is Yoshini Ulaganathan and my other group members are Ainur Sharina binti Anwar, Lovanya Ulaganathan and Baljit Kaur Judge. Now, I'm going to explain about background of the company. Mr. DIY first opened one store on Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman in July 2005 and has now grown to become the largest home improvement retailer in the region with stores across Malaysia. There are stores throughout Malaysia, about 800 plus, average square feet per store about 10,000 and variety of products about 18,000. Most Mr. DIY stores encompass about average 10,000 square feet per store, providing a comfortable and wholesome family shopping experience. Mr. DIY serves more than 80 million customers yearly at all stores in Malaysia and Brunei as well as online stores. All Mr. DIY stores are managed directly in collaboration with large retailers and mall owners, operating as a mini anchor tenant in Lotus, Giant, Aeon and Aeon Big. With 10 categories: hardware, household, electrical, furnishing and car accessories, stationery and sports, toys, gifts, computer and mobile accessories and jewelry and cosmetics. In each store, Mr. DIY offers an average of 18,000 variety of products at always low prices. Next, history of Mr. DIY. Head into a Malaysian mall and chances are that see a Mr. DIY shop. It's pretty much become a staple in many of their malls. In July 2005, it was just a single hardware store along Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman. By the end of the first year, it had grown and was operating 3 outlets. Just within 15 years, Mr. DIY now has a network of 674 stores and is the largest home improvement retailer in both Malaysia and Brunei. Next, I will pass my friend to explain further.
Background of the company and industry associated with the selected issues. Its headquarters are in Selangor, Malaysia. By December 2021, the company, along with its subsidiaries, had 900 stores open in the nation. Using Shopee and its own website, the company launched its e-commerce activities in 2018. The 23 robots that Mr. DIY placed in their warehouse will be used to run the e-commerce warehouse. At Jalan Tunku Abdul Rahman in 2005, Mr. DIY opened its first store in October 2020. Mr. DIY was made available to the public on the Bursa Malaysia. At the end of the fourth quarter in 2020, the company reported cumulative sales of 2.6 billion as a value of 21.4 billion. The importance of the industry to the Malaysian economy. Mr. DIY Group Berhad, a Malaysian retailer of home improvement goods, whose 800 locations, more than any post office or bank in the nation. Adrian Ong, the CEO, attributes this success to the company's use of data analytics. Everything Mr. DIY does is guided by a scientific formula. When choosing a location for a new store, Mr. DIY puts a lot of emphasis on the data that has been gathered and examined, including population and residential statistics. In order to create a store and tailor its selection to the needs of the community, Mr. DIY uses the data to identify potential locations. Previous research. The influence of merchandise on purchasing decision in Mr. DIY Malaysia. The results of this study have been in line with the results of previous research conducted by Sulistiyawan 2008, which found that merchandise has a positive effect on purchasing decisions. The influence of services on purchasing decisions in Mr.Diy Malaysia. The results of these studies are in the line with the research conducted by Ramawati, Desi and Budiyadi 2014, who stated that there is a positive and significant relationship between service and purchasing decisions. Ramawati, Desi and Budiyati explained that a good and impressive welcome that employees has given to each newcomer can create an emotional connection between visitor and employees. Previous research, the influence of price on purchasing decisions in Mr.Diy Malaysia, and the results of these studies are in the line with research conducted by Dewa, May, Arjuman 2014 and Kaur 2016 stated that there is a positive and significant relationship between price and purchase decision. Next slide, my friend will explain further.
Alright, so we proceed to the next slide. I'm Ainu Sharina. So based on the result of the research analysis that has been done, it is concluded as follows, which is merchandise, price, service, physical facility, and simultaneously variables have a significant influences on purchasing decision by visitor of Mr.Diy. Next. Okay, so we will proceed to the analysis based on research. The company has started since 2005 with a retail business of home furnishing or home improvement products. By 2020, Mr.Diy has opened more than 1,000 stores in Asian countries. Mr.Diy will be listed on the main market on Bursa Malaysia. As we know, this company conducts business in the home furnishing goods retail industry. Among the things to look out for to see Mr.Diy next business prospects are on industry growth, populations, and economic strength. Here we can see the effect of COVID-19 on business. The COVID-19 pandemic has to some extent affected retail activities where Mr.Diy store could not operate when the early stages of the PKP were enforced. PKP began to be loosened in phases, and Mr.Diy store were also increasingly open according to current developments. As a result of the store closure, Mr.Diy revenue dropped below the monthly average of RM 189.6 million in March and April based on the figures shown. Next. Alright, this is the financial performance. Mr.Diy increase in revenue and profit shown strong growth from 2017 to 2019. The increase in revenue roughly increased by RM 500 million per year and profit by 200 million per year. Moreover, in the latest report, Mr.Diy has included the first half report of 2020 has shown revenue as of June 2020 was recorded at RM 1.5 billion, while profit was at RM 448 millions. So next we will see through the IPO strategy and its future. Thank you.
IPO strategy and feature, the fund payment of bank debit is 276.14. The percentage is 91.6. Listing expenses is 25.30 and percentage is 8.4. As we can see above, most of the fund will be only used by bank debit payment. We can see the detail of this debit in 2019. A total of 600 million was borrowed for store opening, 10 million, purchase of sale item 266 million, part of 2019 divided amount of 500 million is 244 million. Acquisition of Mr. DIY is 100 million. So the total is 520 million. Next slide. The debt of RM 600 million is divided into a 400 million term loan and 200 million credit facility. The IPO fund 276.14 million will be used for part of the loan term only. The remaining term loan, 123.9 million will be settled in the same time with funds from the company itself. This debit replay is estimated to save the company 15.2 million a year until 2021. One thing we can be aware is that Mr. DIY is not using IPO fund for store addition. This is not surprising as the number of stores has already reached over 600 this year even with IPO fund. The company will still increase the number of stores by 100 this year and another 100 in 2021. Next slide. Discussion. Mr. DIY turned out to show strong financial strength. The market share also shows Mr. DIY has a strong leader in the business sector. It can give assurance that the company will remain standing for many years to come. Okay, thank you.